talking about passion and purpose today. We are discussing fear, and I'm going to read one of my quotes from a book that I'm having published. And it says, "Fear paralyzes us. In reality, we have nothing to fear. We create fear as a protective mechanism to protect us from the realities of change. We must stretch past fear." And I ask, in what ways are you failing to manifest the glory of God within you by not stepping out and doing fear things? One of the things that I've realized in my journey is when I'm not performing above and beyond what I know I'm capable of, or when I'm not going above and beyond where I am, it has something to do with fear, whether it's fear of success, fear of failure, fear of doing something different, fear of what other people may think, fear of change. Whenever you feel fearful of something, it's a sign that by doing that very thing, you will triumph over all odds. Actually, the fear itself contains the gem of your transformation. I swear to God. Meaning, I'm so serious about that. I say that in the name of the Creator, that when you muster up enough courage and you lean into the fear, and sometimes we lean into the fear in a transitory way. We do it at a level that we're comfortable with. But when you begin to see the fear as something that is manifesting on your landscape internally and externally, fear is manifesting internally because you're afraid, but it's manifesting externally by setting up blocks to certain things into your life and bringing in energies that contribute to the fear. When you begin to lean into it and acknowledge it, and you begin to really accept that the fear in and of itself is a figment of your imagination, it is illusory, and in and of itself it does not exist, then you realize that the fear is something that once you get to the other side of it, you can actually begin to become everything that you know that you already are. And it's the getting to the other side of it that can be difficult. I want you to see fear as almost, and I'm using this very, very loosely and metaphorically. When we worship love, we worship our Creator. We worship all of the wonders that we're connected to. We worship universe, source, God, the highest vibration in existence. When we worship fear, which is the opposite of love, we worship the lowest of the low. We worship, you could say we have another idol that we have erected that we worship, so to speak. It is the lower energy that pulls at you, that seeks to hold you down and to keep you living in the illusion of the 3D reality that everything is fear and that everything is based on not having enough. That if you do thus and so, you're going to pull the foundation from underneath you. If you follow your passion and your purpose, you're not going to be able to take care of other things in your life that you need to take care of. What if this happens? What if that happens? Fear can be, you can actually personify fear, and you could say that fear would be the devil, so to speak. It's the energy in your life that enslaves you, that traps you, that creates patterns of inefficiency, inefficacy. It causes you to be disloyal to not only what you're being called to do by the higher part of yourself and by the Creator, it causes you to sabotage the very things that you say you want in your life. Fear is something that you have to slay, but fear is something that you have to acknowledge. You have to see that your inability to move forward is based solely in fear, and that is an energy that is counter to your success. It is counter to love. It is counter to belief and faith in God and the Creator, and is counter to your power to create. Fear does not make room for the idea or the fact or the reality that you are a spiritual being having a material existence, and that you and you alone have the power to create. Fear does not take into account that you're here co-creating, and that while there are many things that are out of your control, much of your experience here is within your control, and how you experience your life here on this planet is within your control. All of it is. And fear does not take into account all of the multitude of synchronicities and divine help and guidance that is at your disposal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, waiting for you to wake up and turn your back on fear and go in the other direction. Fear doesn't take that into account. Fear causes you to contract. And when you contract of the upwards of 4 billion bits of information that your brain filters through every second, you cannot see opportunities. All you can see are obstacles. All you can do is put up one energy block after the other, until the entire truth of your existence and the nature of reality is totally obscured. That's what fear does. Fear paralyzes us. Fear keeps us from moving. Fear keeps us telling ourselves negative ideas. Fear keeps us in a state of limited thinking. Fear keeps us from growing and expanding. Fear keeps us from the very life force energy that we need in order to live bountifully. Before you're done with this video, I want you to accept one thing, and that is that you are a powerful spiritual being put here to accomplish your soul's growth, passion, purpose, all of it. You were put here, you came here to do that. Now, nobody ever said it was going to be easy. Nobody ever said that you wouldn't doubt. Nobody ever said that you might become a disbeliever. And when I say disbeliever, I'm talking about someone who has forgotten who they really are. You have forgotten that you came here with everything inside of you to fulfill your covenant, whatever that is, and that nothing can keep you from that but you. When people say there's nothing to fear but the fear itself, it is worth examining that cliche. There is nothing to fear except the fear itself, because this universe is about life and love, and everything is always working in accordance with what is in your greater what is in your best set of circumstances, what is in your greatest level of fulfillment. Everything works towards that. The so-called bad things and the good things. There are no bad things. There are experiences that we have that cause us to expand, that cause us to grow, that cause us to look further within, that cause us to examine ourselves. So what do you do with the fear? You accept that fear is something that's always going to be coming in from one source or another, because fear is in opposition to change and growth. And whenever you're trying to grow and whenever you're trying to change, fear is going to be there, because fear is manufactured by our ego, which unfortunately has the full stage in our life instead of the back seat in the peanut gallery, just executing the basics of what we need to be able to navigate life. We put our ego on full stage, and so he directs and controls everything. We forget that we have a cauldron of so many other forces at work and at play in our lives that are waiting for us, cheering us on, rallying us ahead for what we came here to do. We forget that you are protected. You are protected. Don't allow your fear to get in the way. Remember who you truly are. Sit with that fear. Examine that fear. Oftentimes, we don't recognize that the obstacles we put up or the rationales or the reasonings that we give are actually based in fear. I'm not going to be able to do that because I don't really have the experience. Well, go to the next question. Well, so you're saying experience is standing in the way. What about the experience that you don't have? Well, I might need to go back to school. Well, why can't you go back to school? Well, because I don't have the money to go back to school. Well, what if you had the money to go back to school? Would you be able to go back to school? Well, I probably could, but my schedule may not allow, and then I have kids and I have a real busyness. You go back, you continue to ask those questions. You continue to get at the difficult questions. And where you end up arriving at the end is either I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I don't have what it takes. who am I to want something better for my life? That's something for other people. Fear will put you in a place where you become totally out of alignment with the very nature of who you are. So you sit with the fear, you examine the fear, you study the fear, you look at the ways in which the fear manifests itself through you as a form of sabotage. What does the fear keep you from doing? How does the fear sabotage you? How does the fear make you lazy? What are the ways that it plays out in your life? And then you begin to connect with your vision. Then you begin to go within. Then you begin to trust. Then you begin to have faith in the very things that actually are a part of why you're here in the first place. Tap into your belief system. Tap into what it is that you say you believe and allow that to work for you. Know that there is something much greater out here than fear, that can defeat fear, that can slay fear, and that can make fear a non-topic, something that you don't even have to contend with. Always remember that at the very basis of everything that we are not doing in our lives that we need to do, fear is no doubt at the core of it. And once you begin to realize that, then you can begin to get a handle on what is it that you're afraid of. When you understand what it is that you're afraid of, that you are afraid of, then you can begin to examine that more closely and begin to pay attention to the ways in which that fear is something that is more of an illusory nature rather than connected to reality. Connect with the ways that you have already done some amazing things in your life that you don't give yourself credit for. And connect with the ways in which you had to overcome some fear and some feelings of being vulnerable or some fears of maybe not feeling good enough. And just know that with each obstacle that you overcome, there will be new challenges. There will be different kinds of fears because we're constantly evolving. We're constantly learning from the cradle to the grave. We're constantly evolving towards learning how to make better decisions, how to stand in our true power until we get to a point where our energy is unobstructed and we become one with purpose. We become one with love. We could become one with our true capacity to create and to make our lives the landscape of our dreams, because that's really what you came here for, to express the glory of God within. You can't be a shrinking violet. And as long as you allow the fear to take over and you don't take that first baby step, because really that's all that's required is taking that first baby step. All you have to do is take that first step. When you take that first step, and you get the momentum going and you get out of the inertia, you get the momentum going, you get out of that space of feeling stuck, it will lead to the next step, which will lead to the next insight or awareness, which will lead to the next synchronicity, which will lead to the next step, and so forth and so on and so forth and so on. So start small and start with what you're comfortable with, but start somewhere and start today. You can break anything down into bite-sized pieces that are palatable. This is Tunisia Ali, moving you out of your cocoon and into your wings. We're talking about passion and purpose, taking your passion and purpose beyond fear, knowing when you're not living your passion and purpose, identifying your passion and purpose. The next video is going to discuss how to make that transition to whatever your passion and purpose is. Don't forget to subscribe. Give back your energy exchange. That way you show the universe to continue bringing good things to you and that you appreciate it. But if you don't subscribe, then it's like saying, okay, I don't want any more of that, whether it's from her or from anybody else. Be love and light. When we do an energy exchange and I give you something, your way to give back is through subscription. Also, you can like, you can comment, you can share. I love sharing. You can share this video with people who you know actually are struggling with their life purpose and may not know which direction to go in. We are all interconnecting. Synchronicities are being orchestrated every day on our behalf, and you are critical to the synchronistic vortex in other people's lives that holds their provision. So be willing to share. I love having a dialogue on the channel. I love getting comments. I love interacting. So feel free to reach out. Thanks again, Tunisia Ali, Butterfly Transformations. Have a light-filled day.